Oh boy, it's almost like he's been listening to me, man. All right, I'm sorry about that voice crack. It has a hank of dudes and dudettes. My name is Shawn, and Andrew Yang has just won his lawsuit against the state of New York. That's right, Andrew Yang just corrected Andrew Cuomo, destroyed him, issued this correction, and saves Bernie Sanders' ass, in the process. But what I want to say is, why couldn't Bernie save himself? Why couldn't Bernie sue him? Why couldn't Bernie do all this stuff? Why does Bernie got to sell his followers out to billionaires? Why does he have to? Why is he a Manchurian candidate? Why is that? Why does Andrew Yang has to come in after the fact? Now, I'll also say that, with regards to Andrew Yang, what are you really accomplishing? Yes, you are doing the right thing by upholding people's rights, and I congratulate you for that. But if you really think that you're going to get a delegate or any votes, I think it's ill-gotten gains. But in the way of just a few votes and how to get and how in order you got them. But the thing is, I think Andrew Yang is looking at the bigger picture as this is just a rights infringement. He's doing what's right. But why doesn't Bernie have the balls to do that? I can't say much about Andrew Yang either because he have the balls to call out Tom Perez. But the thing is, Bernie Sanders cried about it and bitched about it and moaned and complained, but he didn't do anything about it. Andrew Yang had to come and do something about it, and he won. This is what happens when you stick up for the people. Okay, anyway, Albany, New York. The Democratic presidential primary in New York is back on. A federal judge in Manhattan ruled late Tuesday that New York must hold the primary on June 23rd. Contending and canceling it would be unconstitutional and take away the ability of the candidates to receive delegates for the party's convention in August. Removing the candidates from the ballot and canceling the presidential primary denied them the chance to run and denied voters the right to cast ballots for their candidate and their political beliefs. U.S. District Judge Annalisa Torres ruled. Okay, so now it's the thing, like, it doesn't matter if you agree with Andrew Yang or you agree with Bernie Sanders or you don't like the Yang Gang or you don't like Bernie Bros. It doesn't matter. Everybody can come together and agree that you should have the right to vote, no matter what. They have ways they can do this with social distancing. People can still shop, people can vote. You know what I mean? So Andrew Cuomo he's constantly railed against progressives, and I'm progressive friendly. I'm not a progressive myself, but some of their causes are the right causes, just as some of the conservative causes are the right causes. So, but for him to just arbitrarily say, "Oh no, that's not happening. The election's off," it's morally repugnant to do such a thing, right? So, the lawsuit was brought on behalf of former presidential candidate Bernie Sanders and Andrew Yang, who argued in a lawsuit April 28th that it was illegal for New York to cancel the primary. Now, here's the thing. Andrew Yang started this. I got an email a while back, and Bernie Sanders always just joins in. He brought it on behalf of presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. I don't understand, like Andrew Yang, why is he always leading the charge on some of these things? And then why does he flop on some of these things as well, like calling out Tom Perez when he's had a long history of actually cheating you out of, rigged polling. So anyways, they said it was illegal for New York to cancel the primary. Yes, the people in New York will be able to vote Democratic presidential primary, Yang wrote on Twitter. John Conklin, the spokesman for the State Board of Elections, declined to... excuse me, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to do a video here. Okay, so declined to comment on the ruling or whether the state would appeal, saying it was under review by the board's attorney. Stimulus fraud arrest. Feds arrest 2 men in first fraud case involving PPP loan program for... Okay, wow. Oh my God. God damn. Well, okay, so when asked about the ruling on CNN by his young brother, the anchor Chris Cuomo, Governor Andrew Cuomo said, yes, right now by a judge's determination, the primary is back on. So... yes, right now. You can't just arbitrarily go back on what a judge says. And why do you keep letting Chris Cuomo and softball his brother? Why does that happen? CNN's such a joke, man. But anyways, the Cuomo said the decision could be appealed. Why would you do that? The overwhelming majority of people want to have this election. So here's Andrew Yang's tweet. Anyways, the state Democratic election commissioners voted last week to remove 10 presidential candidates from the ballot except Joe Biden, the only actively campaigning candidate presumptive nominee. That's just literally it's such whether Biden was going to get the nominee or not is irrelevant. You should not arbitrarily decide for people that they can't vote for this person. Anyways, the vote came after a new measure in state law that allows the board to remove candidates from the ballot if the candidate publicly suspends his or her campaign. First of all, it's stupid. people should have the right to vote for who they want to vote for. If I wanted to have, what about write-in candidates? You're still counting write-in candidates, I'd imagine, but some write-in candidates don't even have campaigns, but you still write them in, so they have no campaign to suspend. That's okay, but if you have a campaign then you suspend it, that's not okay. It's arbitrary. It makes no sense. So primaries for state and federal elections were still being held, but the commissioner said it was best to end the presidential primary due to... Oh my goodness. It goes on to Trump's coronavirus task force and on and on and on. So if you guys want, you can pause here and you can kind of, read through some of this stuff. But of course, it is what it is. It's publicly available. You can, I might include this link if if I'm not too lazy. So it is what it is, guys. I congratulate Andrew Yang for doing the right thing. Bernie Sanders should have stepped up, and Andrew Cuomo, doesn't mean just because you're on TV every day talking about how good of a job you're doing, doesn't mean you're judge, jury, and executioner. It is what it is. I'm glad Andrew Yang corrected you, and I'm glad Andrew Yang did what he's supposed to do in the face of all this uncertainty when nobody else did it. I'm not 100% sure if Sanders had brought up the litigation himself, but I think it was Andrew Yang, so props to him, and I love you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one.